Hi, seventh grade. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be on campus today on Friday. My son is sick and I need to stay home with him. So this video is one of two ed puzzles that you be required to watch. This one is the first one. The second one is going to be on feudalism. And this one's going to focus on the packet. So I hope you guys have your packet out. So if you don't, please make sure to take it out. You'll be able to do this at your pace, so please make sure to just follow along. You'll be able to skip the video so that you can see which parts are most beneficial to you. So if you go to page, um, if you go to page 7, if you go to page 10 of your social studies packet, I'm going to work on this source. I believe this is source, they're numbered. This is source 2. So if you don't have source 2, you just write source 2, okay? On page 10, we have question 7. And question 7 said, according to the text and the image, how is Europe organized? So that text is talking about this text, this document, and also this image, right? And Europe is organized as independent kingdoms. So if you that's what you wrote, excellent job. If you didn't write that, if you did not write that, then now you know it's independent kingdoms. Some people said the church, but this doesn't show the church. It shows independent kingdoms. So this is going to be document 1. This is document 2, and it's kind of hard to read, so I will do my best. Tag simply means title, author, genre, and date. So for the title, this one is just called the Middle Ages. So you are doing this with me as I'm doing this, okay? So I'll model this one, and then you will do the third one. So this is called the Middle Ages. Author is, now it says in the Middle Ages, historian Franz Funk Bernardo made a use of previously published uh, text to describe Europe in the 9th and 10th century. So we don't know who actually wrote this because this guy is a historian, but he's using primary source, and we don't really know who wrote this source. Okay, so author we'll just leave blank for now. Genre is nonfiction, historical, and the date. This one is throws kids off because they think of the date as they think of this date. Now that's when it was published in a book called the Middle Ages, but this document actually comes from the 9th and 10th century, so we don't know exactly when it was published originally. Okay, so we'll just say 9th and 10th centuries. So 9th and 10th centuries will be like the 900s. Okay, I'm gonna erase this. So again, that's what you should have. That's what you should be. You should have copied this on your own document because it's going to have to be completed. And this is what this guy says, or woman. I'm not sure who wrote this. He said the barbarians have broken through the ramparts. Now, if you remember with the fall of Rome, the Romans called outsiders barbarians. This is the 900s, right? By now, those barbarians that attack Rome have created their own empires, and now they are calling other people barbarians. Okay, so I want you to understand that this is not talking about the fall of Rome. This is about 400 years after the fall of Rome. Okay, so the barbarians that attacked Rome and divided Rome and split Rome into these kingdoms, now they're being attacked by so-called, they call them barbarians too. Okay, so now they're saying the barbarians have attacked us. Here it says the barbarians have broken through the ramparts. Ramparts are like walls on a castle. Walls on a castle. The Moors, the Saracens, the Moors, the Muslims, invasion have spread in successive waves over the south. So here, the Muslims are coming and attacking, right? And then another attack, and then another attack. Those are called like the waves of attack. the Hungarians swarm over eastern provinces. So the Hungarians are coming from this side. Okay. Moving on. They sacked towns and villas and laid waste to fields. Laid waste to fields means they destroyed the crops, they destroyed um, the plants. They burned down churches and then departed with crowd of captives. So they burned things down and they took slaves. There's no longer any trade. There's no longer any trade. Only unceasing terror. Unceasing means nonstop. The peasants, if you remember the peasants are farmers, has abandoned his ravaged fields, his destroyed fields to avoid the violence and anarchy. Anarchy is kind of like what you see in, there's this movie, I forgot the name of the movie, but there's like constant killings. The people have gone to cower or hide in the depths of the forest or in inaccessible areas where you can't reach them easily, regions, or have taken refuge in the high mountains. Society no longer has any governments. Okay. So this is a problem, right? So this is one of the reasons why feudalism is developed, because people need to bring stability back to Europe. So that is source 2. So here are some words that I left for you to review, because some of these words are a little harder to understand. Moors means Muslim. It's a group of people, religion, that uh, comes from this area here. It's gonna be here somewhere. Can't really see it. Swarm means attack. Unceasing means non-stop. Anarchy means state of disorder, successive, following one after another. Sacked, attack or take. Ravaged, destroyed, and cower means hide. Now for this one, this is a CEE response. According to the author, what were the conditions in Europe in the 800s? Now, some of us are used to saying they were bad, and that's just not going to cut it. You are going to be assessed again on a CEE, and I would also use that as a retake for those students that did not do so well. But we're all going to assess on that, and it's going to go in the grade book before the end of the trimester. So according to the author, what were the conditions? So the question is asking, what was life like in the 800s, 8 and 900s? Cite evidence to support your answer. This is how I would do this, okay? So this is how you're going to be doing some of the other ones. So here I will say life. So please copy this with me as you see it. Life in Europe during the 800s. Alfie's playing with a squeaky toy and it's distracting me. Was very difficult. I don't know if you guys can hear that squeaky toy. It's really bothering me. And chaotic. Right? So this is a claim. This can be a claim, right? But now we need evidence. I saw that in the constructed response about the Vikings, some of us did not provide evidence, and you have to provide evidence because it does ask for site evidence. And this is source 2. Source 2 states, and here I'm going to do a comma, and then I'm going to use quotes. Please don't paraphrase, just use quotes. It says, there is, right here, there is no longer any trade. So this evidence is supporting my claim. Only unceasing or non-stop terror. ... The peasant has abandoned the ravaged fields to avoid the violence of anarchy. Is it of or anarchy? Of anarchy. Period. Close quote. Now, I didn't ask you to explain it, but in this case, I would, because it's a good habit to do. So here I wrote, at this time, Europe was incomplete. So this is my explanation. Disarray or confusion, filled with danger and instability. Period. Normal life has completely disappeared. If I misspell something, I'm sorry. Period. Life can only be described as difficult and challenging. And period. Okay, so I have a C claim, I have evidence, and then I have an explanation. Okay. The next one, according to the source, should the early Middle Ages be known as the Dark Ages? Obviously, right? According to source 2, the early Middle Ages should be known as the Dark Ages. And then it says why, right? Because there was so much destruction and chaos. Okay, period. Is this source referring to the fall of Rome? And we talked about that already. It says check the intro to the source. So the source is focusing on the 9th and 10th century. So no, this source is not talking about the fall of Rome. The fall of Rome happened in the 400s. This is talking about the 800s. So this one would be this source is not talking or referring about the fall of Rome. Right? Rome fell in the 400s. This source is focusing on the 800s, 8 and 900s. So no, they're completely different time periods. So this is how I want you guys to answer the questions that for source 3, okay? So this is how I want you guys to answer the questions for source 3. You have already done source 1, which is this guy, right? You are going to come back to the source later in the year, in the unit. We just did source 2, and now you're going to tackle source 3. And source 3 is, the source itself is a little longer, but the words are a little easier to understand. And I still gave you guys the word bank. Okay, question. So please read the source. Please annotate the source as best as you can. And then it says, according to the author, what were the conditions in Europe between 476 and 1100? This is a CEE. You need You need one piece of evidence and explanation. So when you start this, don't say according to the author. Instead, just state what were the conditions in Europe at this time. Very similar to what I did with this one here. Okay, very similar to what I did here. So this question is going to be very similar to that. You need to cite your evidence. You need to explain your evidence. According to this source, should the early Middle Ages be known as the Dark Ages? Cite evidence to support your answer. Here you can say according to this source. Yes, you can actually start that way. According to the source. Okay. And then the source C is 3. Source A is source 1. Okay. So source A is the first one that you did a couple days ago. This one, also known as source A. This is also known as source B. Source B. And this is going to be source C. So it'll be the same thing. So source C is source 3, source B is source 2, and so forth. Okay. So here it says, or if you want to change the numbers, that's fine too. The source 3 support source A or support source B. Provide evidence to support your answer. So what that question is asking is, look at source 3. This is source 3. Is source 3 more similar to source 2 or source 1? That's what it's asking. And give me some evidence to support your answer. Because someone's going to say, well, source 3 actually supports source 1. They're talking about the same thing. Yes, they're talking about the same thing, but they're not arguing the same thing, right? It's about the arguments. What does source 3 say about the Middle Ages? What does source 1 say about the Middle Ages? What does source 2 say about the Middle Ages? Right? Which one is source 3 most similar to? And then we get to this part. You didn't do the video, so you can just cross this section out. So source 1, Europe was divided. The source 1 support that Europe was divided. Let's look. It does. Europe was divided into many kingdoms. So you put a check on that box. So we'll put a check on this box. There was a decline in culture. The source 1 supports that there was a decline in culture. Source 1 doesn't really say that. That's not their big argument. So we're going to leave that one blank because they don't really support that. The Middle Ages were challenging for this one. So were the Middle Ages challenging? This one doesn't really talk about it being challenging. It talks about a system of feudalism, but it doesn't really talk about challenging. Let's leave that one blank. The church was very powerful during the Middle Ages. Yes. Good things happened in the Middle Ages. Yes. Feudalism developed. Yes. I've read that article several times, so I know that the source does support that, right? Now, the map. That's this guy. Does the map support that Europe was divided? It does. So we're going to put a check there. Does it support that there was a declining culture? No. That it was challenging? No. It doesn't support any of the other ones. It just supports that it was divided. You're going to do the same thing for source 2. Source 2, also known as source B. This guy. and also source C. Okay, so this is, you have to do this. You have to do this part as well. When I come back on Monday, we are going to share some of our answers. So you're watching this video and it's longer than I thought it would be. After you finish this video, you have to watch the entire video. After you finish this video, I might put it on non-skip because, you know, I do want you to watch this. And if you need to stop the video just to like review, that's fine. Just stop it when you feel like it's necessary. After you finish this video, you're gonna watch this Edpuzzle. I know how much you guys love Edpuzzle. It's called Feudalism in the Medieval Manor. We have not talked about the manor system yet. But a manor is a place, and we are going to talk about it in the next couple of weeks. It is it is like a small village that has a big house, like a castle for the Lord, for the, you know, the Lord. It might have a mill to grind uh, uh, whatever you make flour with. There's gonna be a church. There's gonna be small homes for the peasants. There might be a body of water like a lake, maybe a river. There will be pasture for the animals. There might be a forest. So we are gonna talk about the manor. The manor was like the economic aspect of feudalism. This is how people survived, right? This is where people lived. Um, a manor is found on a fief. So remember, a fief is a very big chunk of land. The manor is just where people actually live in the fief. Okay. Um, yeah, so that's your work for today. You guys are gonna do an amazing job. I will be on Hapara to make sure that you're on task. You are going to be on focus browsing. Please do not email me or send me a message asking me to listen to music because I'm gonna just say no. Yeah, this is really important. Please review as much as you can, and yeah, make me proud. Please make good choices. Unfortunately, I can't be there because I need to be here for my son, and I wish I was there, but I'm not. And so again, today you are going to be working on watching this video that you're listening to right now. You should have copied this because this is going to be your model. You got to practice. And then you're also going to be working on source 3, answering these questions. And then you're also going to be doing this, and then you do the video. If you have extra time, you are going to close your computers and you are going to read your book. Or you can preview the next pages of the document. You're more than welcome to read these if you want. You don't have to do the questions. You're more than welcome to read the sources. Right, a lot of it is on feudalism, the manor system. You're more than welcome to look at these. There's one on the church, the age of faith, and the power the church has during the medieval period. But yeah, have fun, and you are going to be getting a quiz, not this, maybe at the end of next week, so Friday, and it'll be made up of a CEE, but also the beginning of feudalism, okay? If you have any questions, please email me after you leave my class because you won't have access to Gmail during my class. I'll see you guys later. Bye.